Hey everyone, this is Music Tech Help Guy, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create what I like to call a chop transition. I find these really helpful to add right at the end of an intro or a build-up section, right before the main beat hits. So first I'll play you a quick example of what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you how to create this effect. And this can be done very easily with just basic audio editing tools. Okay, so here's my Logic project before the chop effect. So I've got an intro sort of building up here, and then at bar 17 is where the beat comes in. Okay, so right here at bar 16, that's where I want this chop transition to go. I want the kick drum and some of the other synth elements to have like a choppy, rhythmic effect to sort of bring me into the main beat at 17. And this also just helps to accent the beat at bar 17 a bit better. So first and foremost, I recommend doing this with audio. I don't recommend doing this with MIDI unless it's like a kick drum. Like we're gonna convert this to MIDI and use the kick drum here, because the choppy effect is gonna be more effective with audio than it is with MIDI. With MIDI, you still have to worry about the instrument's individual envelopes and amplifier envelopes. So, you may not get the same effect if you chop things up with MIDI as opposed to audio. Next, I'm going to open up this stack here because I've got a few shakers in here. And actually, the shakers are just going to come out. So I'm just going to pull these out. Sort of auxiliary percussion elements can just be completely removed. I'm more concerned about the bass and some of these synths and the kick drum. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over this drum beat here, and I'm going to right-click and go down to Convert, and convert this to a MIDI region. And the only reason I'm doing this is just because I want to get just this very first kick hit here. And I'll go ahead and snap this to the grid. I'll snap it to division, and then I'll just kind of do that and pull this over here. Now, what I like to do first, before I even start chopping up the other instruments, is I recommend figuring out what rhythm it is you're trying to create. For me, I'm thinking like a dun 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 do, right? Dun 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 do. That's the rhythm I want. So I'm going to just create that rhythm with the kick here. And then we'll do that. And then that. So I've got the rhythm now. And actually, these last two can be taken out. I do want that rhythm, but I don't want it in the kick there. So now what I'm going to do is, using the scissors tool, using division, and using an snap to absolute value grid, I'm going to sort of separate these and separate this. And what I'm going to do is select all of these, and I'm going to cut these up into little 16th note chunks. Now you could do it like this manually, or you can hold Option while using the scissors tool and cut all of those up. And now it's just a matter of editing. I'll delete the chops that I don't want to use. I'll reposition the chops that I do want to use. And I'm just doing this in a really rudimentary way here. You can really take some time and make sure that certain chords or certain notes are on certain beats. It doesn't take any fancy modulation or synthesis skills. It's just basic grid editing. At the very end here, I'm just going to take these two and just do something like this. And I'm going to shorten these. I'm going to turn off grid snap and shorten these even more. And then on the tail end of each of these audio clips, I'm going to go over into my region inspector and add a little fade out, so there's no little poppy sounds. So we're getting pretty close. I'm going to pull all of these out to make them a little longer. And the same thing with the bass. Just pull these out a little bit. Now, something else you can do to these is you can play around with pitch effects just to give it some more color, give it some more flavor. And so what I like to do is certain clips, what I'll do is I'll add a fade at the beginning. So Shift Control, drag over it to create a fade. And then I'll right click and I'll create a speed up fade. And then I'll just adjust the curve of the fade. And then maybe this one too. I'll do the same thing. I'll add a little short fade to the beginning, add a speed up, adjust the curve of it a bit. And another thing you can do is you can try playing around with pitch. So maybe I'll drag over a couple of these synths and I'll go over to the region inspector and I will add a transposition of 12 semitones. So those are going up an octave. And then maybe I'll take these two and bring these up an octave as well. And again, this is another reason why I like working with audio for effects like this and not MIDI. And another thing you can do if you really want to go crazy with this is you can play around with some different automation. Since these are really sort of in-your-face, choppy effects, what I like to do is play around with different panning. So now these last few notes are going to quickly pan left and right. I'll start at 13 here. There's no reason to play the whole intro. And you know, if you find other elements in your song that you want to borrow for this, it's as simple as just using the marquee tool and then just holding Option and pulling it over. And maybe here I want a little bit of like a bass reverse pitch effect. I can take this clip, go into the region inspector, reverse it, add a fade, and then right click and add a speed up. And now I have, let's get rid of this automation here. And I'll go ahead and just pull that up so it's a little more noticeable. We'll get just a little bit of like a bass reverse effect at the end there. And there you go. That's how you can create a chop transition with just your basic audio editing tools. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. As always, thank you so much for the support and thanks for watching.